Hi, everybody. Welcome to our channel, Our Scientology Stories Peeling the Onion. My name is Mark Fisher, and I want to introduce my co-host, Janis Gillham Grady. Hi, Janis. How you doing today?
Good. Aloha, Mark. Doing good.
Aloha
Good
back.
day, Good day, everybody. We have an exciting show for you today. We're going to be chatting with Sterling Tompkins. I know he was just over on AA Ron's channel talking, but we're going to start much earlier than all that. We're going to start with the very first day I met Sterling and his twin brother Justin. So
That's right.
we got a few things to do before that, but just hang on and we'll be there shortly.
Just be a few minutes, okay? Anyway, to get started, we are going to start with Janis. This weekend, tell everybody what you did this weekend up in San Jose, California.
The People was a band in 1967 that had a hit record called I Love You. And this is the photo of People. In the front is Jeff Levin, and behind him is his brother Robbie. And to the left, that's Al Ribisi. Some of you might know Al. He's still in Scientology. He's the father of Giovanni Ribisi, who's an actor in Hollywood. Can you go back to that other picture?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Jeff and I in probably 2018 when I released my first book. I've known Jeff since 1974 when he came on the ship as a musician. But I've known of Jeff and Robbie in the band People since 1969. They became very close to my mother, and I was on the ship while she was in Los Angeles setting up Celebrity Center. And I had a picture of the People, the next picture. Mom had sent that to me, and I had it on my bulkhead on the ship in my cabin, and another picture of them with my mom. But so I finally got to meet Jeff in 74 after having known of him for 5 years. But Robbie, I had never met Robbie in the 54 years I've known of him. So finally, when I went up to San Jose for the premiere viewing at a film festival of Brothers Broken, which is a story about Jeff and Robbie, I finally got to meet Robbie. So after 54 years of knowing of him and him knowing of me, we finally got to meet in person. And I think you have another picture of that, Mark? Oh, that's me. Hannah was also up there, and Sandy Holman lived nearby. So that's Hannah Eltringham and myself and Sandy having dinner the night before the premiere. And that's me with the two brothers, Jeff and Robbie. And I will be interviewing Robbie and Jeff at some point on this channel. We had a good time up there. The film is very good. I've got maybe a minute or two in their film where I talk about having known Jeff on the ship when he was there as a musician. And the story is about them having a hit record and becoming Scientologists, joining the Sea Org with my mother. And then it gets into disconnection and how they were disconnected for pretty much 25 years. And they did a great job. Jeff really did an incredible job with this film. And here we are. There's Spanky on the left, Sandy Holman. Spanky Taylor. Sandy Holman, who I stayed with. And I knew Sandy Holman on the ship. She'd worked with my brother. So I've known her since like 1970. She came from San Jose. She actually went to the same high school as Jeff and Robbie, and she brought her yearbook to the event. And Robbie and Jeff both signed it because they had performed as a band at the junior prom and were in the yearbook. So they signed her yearbook just this weekend, all these years later. And then there's Jeff in the middle, me, and Hannah. And that was at our dinner after the show. So I had a very fun weekend with a lot of old friends and an old friend who became a new friend.
And you didn't have to deal with Hurricane Hillary, right?
No, but I kept texting my daughter and you and trying to find out how's the weather, is the cover off the pool, is everything okay?
Yeah, we didn't get anything except just a rainy day. It was not even a big deal. No wind at all. It was actually a nothing burger. I think most of the people had problems more in Los Angeles and San Diego. Anyway,
Right.
that's great. Hey, listen, I wanted to mention to everybody here, we want to thank all these people that have joined membership to our channel, and you can do that by clicking on the join button on our homepage, either from an Android or laptop or regular computer. And one of the perks that we're putting in is that we're going to be launching a merchandise site here within the next few days. Okay. We've designed some different merchandise designs, and I wanted to give you guys just a little peek of a couple of things on here just to whet your appetite in terms of what we're doing. Let us know what you think of them. Okay. So this is it. This is our channel merchandise coming very soon, which means within a day or two. Okay. Anyway, this is a coffee mug that we designed with our Scientology Stories Peeling the Onion logo. Okay. And then on the other side of it, we got a koala bear in a Hawaiian shirt saying good day, mates, right? Janice, do you want to mention how we got the koala bear design?
One of our fans, viewers, sent it to us as an idea, and he got it off AI, and we thought he was a cute little fella.
That's right. Exactly. So anyway, that's a coffee mug. That's one of them. We've got several with different designs, which some of them we're going to keep as a surprise when we launch everything. Okay. But this is a t-shirt that we designed with the same koala bear. We're saying good day, mates. And then on the sleeves, on the right sleeve, it's got a Mofo Mark logo. And on the left sleeve, it's got Koala Calm for Janice. So that's a t-shirt that we've got. And all these shirts and everything are coming in like 8 or 9 colors and all different sizes and stuff. We also have designed female t-shirts for ladies, as well as several different coffee mugs and different bottles for Janice. What do you call those bottles that you the one who uses those things? What are they?
The thermal bottles or the water bottles for going jogging.
Yeah, yeah. And then we've got a Rock Slam Those Likes mouse pad, okay, which you're going to see, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
As well as some other funny options and stuff. Anyway, so the reason I mentioned membership is because if you're a peeling professional, which is our second level, you're going to automatically get a 5% discount on any merchandise that you buy anytime. And then if you're a peeling master, which is our top level, not only do you get an autographed book of Janice's autographed copy of Janice's book, but also you get 10% off of any merchandise you order on the site. Okay. So those are 2 perks that come with being a peeling professional or a peeling master. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that, and we appreciate the people that have already joined. But if you haven't, please do so. Or just subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit that subscribe button and rock slam that like button. Right, Janice?
Yes, right, Mark. But also I want to mention on those that are peeling masters, you've already done 1 call with a peeling master while I was gone. And then tomorrow we've got several scheduled to call and talk to people, as this is our first month doing that. And if there's someone who's a peeling master that hasn't been scheduled with us yet, please email me at Janis Gillham Grady @gmail.com so we can schedule doing our monthly talk for this month.
Yeah, I did one over the weekend. It was great. It's basically a 15-20 minute one-on-one with Janice and I, and that's for peeling masters, and it was a lot of fun. We get to know our members a lot better, and we've got 2 scheduled for tomorrow, and we've got several others as well. So anyway, if you're a peeling master and you haven't had your one-on-one yet, please email Janice at this email address. We just need your email and what time you're available so that we can coordinate and make sure that we set you up, because we're going to live stream. Basically, it's just like a Zoom call. We're not going to record it or broadcast it, but it's a way for you to talk to us, ask questions, and we get to know you a little bit better. So anyway, we appreciate that. And I see our guest is back now. He was out for a second there. And Janice, if you would like, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest for the day?
So our guest for today is Sterling Tompkins, who I have known since the day his parents brought him home from the hospital in Clearwater.
And
So
I've known him, because I basically joined the Sea Org shortly thereafter. And when he and his brother were basically Justin, they were in diapers, in the Lemon Tree restaurant at the Fort Harrison. So anyway, we've known a long time.
he and Justin were probably the youngest babies I had ever met at that time. And they looked like little old men, all kind of shriveled up. Sterling calls himself an alien baby, but he was a little old man in my view.
Anyway, we're going to bring him on. One thing I was going to mention, if you have questions, get in the chat and write question on it. We'll get to that. If you want to super chat us, super stream, whatever, super chat or super sticker us, please do so. But without further ado, everybody, here he is, Sterling Tompkins. How you doing, Sterling?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great.
I had to put on my Hawaiian shirt just to the whole
there you go.
here. So, yeah.
Just so people know, in our merchandise, we have 2 Hawaiian shirts. They have a Hawaiian shirt, and I did designs for 2 Hawaiian shirts that are going to be available for people to order, which is going to be a riot. So anyway.
That sounds awesome. So it's not an enforced Scottish motif. It's an enforced Hawaiian motif, which is something.
Hey, it's the only one live,
Yeah, right.
Well, and there's Aussie in there too.
That's right.
That's
right.
true.
That's true.
Yeah, because the design on the Hawaiian shirt has the koala bears all over it. So anyway, there's definitely Aussie in there.
That is perfect. That is perfect.
Anyway, Sterling,
right.
Yeah, go ahead, Janice. Why don't you go ahead and start, and we'll talk.
Right.
I can bring up photographs, and shall I show the first picture here?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. This is what you were talking about, right?
Well, that's a little older because they're sitting up. They're probably about 6 months in that picture.
And by the way, I still have that. I'm still rocking that exact same body, just so you know. Yeah, 100%. Got the rolls and everything.
Oh dear.
You know what you should do? Leave that one be and let the people who are commenting figure out who's who in this. Don't say.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So the viewers who are in the chat section, which one is Justin and which one is Sterling? We will come back to that later. All right. Let's go to the next one.
And then we've got go ahead, Jim.
This is the little old men that came back from the hospital with Biddy. Biddy Tompkins.
Biddy.
Yeah, Biddy Tompkins. Well, originally Biddy Blythe married Foster Tompkins, and later on she married.
How long did you know Biddy?
Oh, I've known Biddy since she was probably 14 when she came to the ship. Early 70s, maybe 1970 or something. She knew my mom before she came to the ship, and then when she came, we became friends. But she didn't become a messenger at the time on the ship. She didn't want to be one of us. So, but she was in.
Where'd she work?
Where did she work?
She worked in the Flag Bureau in HCO, senior HCO, and a little in external comm. That's where Foster was always in external comm.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's when she came home with her 2 little old men in her arms.
And this is in Clearwater, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was in Clearwater, and there's Foster with
There's no
one
way.
of the that's the alien baby.
Yeah, and only my mom would know who that is. There's no way you can tell. But that's the Benjamin Button. I think that movie was partly based off of Justin. So, yeah.
Now that's your dad, Foster Tompkins, and he was in 1978. Was when were you born? 1977 or 78?
76. September 76.
76. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, when I got to the base was like 77, 78 or whatever. Foster was my first senior in the Sea Organization. In other words, he was my boss. And in retrospect, he was the best boss I ever had in the Sea Organization. I mean, this guy handled external communications for Scientology worldwide, okay? And in those days, we used telex machines, which had these paper tapes. You typed it out, and the message would be in a paper tape. And then you would contact the organization that you were sending or receiving from at a certain time. You'd put the tape in, you'd hit a button, and that paper tape would spit out, and the messages would get sent. Now, this sounds like caveman times to everybody else who's around, right? Because of internet and cell phones and all that, right? But your dad, Foster, was the first one to start computers, because when I was in external comm in 1978, he had Texas Instrument computers, really new ones, brand new ones, that basically we had people that would word process, because what would happen is when you ran those paper tapes off, it would print off on a telex machine. Well, it's not very hospitable and easy to read. So instead, he had them loaded on a floppy disk, and then there were people who would then word process the telexes on these Texas Instruments computers and print them out. And then those would be what we would deliver to everybody, to international management. So he was way ahead of his time. Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to mention is he also was the one who started the computer network for Scientology, INCOM, which stands for International Network of Computer Organized Management, INCOM, because he was the genius on computers as far as Scientology goes, and he set up the whole network and the whole thing. So he was a major guy in Scientology and management, right, Janis?
Oh, yeah, there was LRH dispatches coming down to him daily during that whole INCOM setup with, doing chug and all sorts of things like that. And we had what was called Merc before emails even came out. It was Mercury, and we just called him Merc. And then later that evolved into emails.
It basically, it was it was emails before emails existed, I heard.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, and we had other. Sorry, go ahead, Sterling. Go ahead.
Well, Chuck Beatty, I don't know if you remember Chuck Beatty.
Sure.
He told me once that I think in a certain period in the 80s when Foster was setting up INCOM, that he had the most correspondence over a 2-year period with Hubbard than anyone else.
Because he would engage him in conversations. In other words, Hubbard would say something about the way computers used to be on the whole track, right? And Foster would then engage him and actually, comment on current times. And so they had the whole running series back and forth. And everybody, when they came down, everybody wanted to read them because they were interesting,
Right.
So it was funny.
Oh,
anyway,
go ahead. Computers were new to all of us then.
Yeah, we didn't have cell phones. We had to use pay phones. You had a landline. What the heck is that? I mean, we're talking all the way up to 1990 when we left, Janis. I mean, we started having computers in 1983, 84. That's when they started having. We had our own internal network that Foster set up, the whole organization. So anyway, we have a debate going on. Go ahead.
If you were important enough, you had a beeper.
That's right. And I hated a beeper. After I left the Sea Org, one of the jobs I had to wear a beeper, and I absolutely hated having it. And as soon as I could get rid of it, I could, because it just was so stimulative of, because whenever I got beeped, it was David Miscavige or Shelley Miscavige. It was one or the other, and it was never good news.
It's like door knocks to me now. Door knocks to me are like the worst, because if your door, it's like, oh, you're in trouble, you're being called in for something. So if anyone knocks at my door, even if I have a delivery coming and I know it, cannot stand people knocking at my door. Just whoa, wait a second, what's that? Just never get used to it.
All right, so everybody's been in the chat. Some people are saying left, some people are saying right. I mean, it's literally an open debate. So why don't we go ahead and reveal to everybody who's who in this picture, so that way they don't have to keep going back and forth. There's a team left and a team right.
Sterling, which one are you?
Well, so if I say which one I am, either left or right, I guess it's them looking at the picture on the screen, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. So I'm the one without the little man boobs. I'm the one on the right.
with the dark hair.
Yeah, with the darker hair and the clueless expression. Yeah, that's me on the right.
That's your brother Justin, the hand on the left.
Yeah. And that's my twin brother Justin on the other side on the left.
Yeah. So it's team right.
Team right, and they are definitely not identical.
How could you tell?
Oh, we don't have well, we do have some other pictures of you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, none of I made you remove that. No, you'll see. Yeah, you'll see. There's further pictures, which is fun.
Yeah, well, here we go. Here's some more.
Well, there's another good one. Why don't we not say for a second and see if everyone just gets better at it as we go along?
Blue or green? Blue or green?
Yeah, blue or green. Okay.
You guys can guess blue or green. Which one is
Yeah.
which? And I'll go ahead and go to the next picture here, and we'll go
Okay.
back to that. Who's that?
That's awesome.
Was that Dana Carvey?
Yeah. That's
I was going to say that hair, you look like Dana Carvey as a little kid.
Yeah, my dad was so cheap about haircuts growing up. Foster was so cheap. I mean, you should see my hair half the time. It was all over the place like that. Look at that. I mean, there's nothing about that hair that's cut. I think I got butchered one night. Like, it was just like, no. I don't think there's one picture of me with a good haircut as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Well, we have to bring up at this point, because by this point, well, when you were 1 year old, I believe it was, your parents split up.
Right.
And so Biddy had Justin and Foster had you. And though you were both at the Flag Land Base and both in the Cadet Org together, at nighttime you went home with different parents.
Yes. Yeah.
What was that like?
Right.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't. I don't remember that at all. Because I guess I still saw him during the day, right? So at the nursery with Darius and Sean and everyone. But I do just remember, like, once or twice we would both be put into a room, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the night or somehow we always got into trouble. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things I remember. Obviously, one, too young to remember that. But I remember when they left, and you guys will probably remember the years better than me though. When Ronnie and Biddy left to New Hampshire and I eventually went to LA. So before then, the memories are kind of dispersed between, Darius getting, was it Justin? No, Justin got hit on the head with a golf club by Darius.
So I'm going to just interject here.
Yeah.
Darius is Darius Wilhair. That's Greg and Sandy Wilhair's son. Okay. And you guys were in the nursery. Okay. At that time in 1978, I was the LRH communicator for the Estates Organization. And we got more orders and advices from L. Ron Hubbard about nannies in the nursery, because it was the nursery at that time was in the cabanas back by the garage in the Fort Harrison Hotel. Yeah, there were 2 cabana rooms, right? And Florida state law required a certain number of nannies per kid. Well, Hubbard hated that idea. He did not like, I think it was 1 nanny per 5 kids, and he thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
and he thought it was ridiculous, and he wanted, how can we get around this? How can we get around this? And so there were a lot of advices on, and
less supervision of children. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then the parents, of course, they were having babies like crazy, because you guys had gotten off the ship in 1976, Janice, and everybody was, hooking up and having kids. So
75.
all of a sudden, 75, 76, whatever. Everybody was hooking up and having kids. So there was an explosion of kids in the nursery. And one of the kids I was going to mention, I don't know if you know this, Sterling, or not. Yeah. Did you know that Cole Hauser, the actor, was in the nursery with you and Darius?
I did not. And, someone mentioned that. And I'm like, what?
Janice has a photograph.
That's crazy.
It has a photograph of Darius in a diaper with Cole Hauser in a diaper. Janice, explain to why Cole Hauser, the guy who plays Rip on Yellowstone, why was he in that nursery too? Go ahead, Janice.
Well, his mom, Cass Warner, Cass Living Right Hauser, had married. Actually, she'd been married to Wings Hauser, and they had Cole. And then Cass joined the Sea Org and was in the LRH PR Bureau at the time. And so she had Cole with her at the land base, because she was in the PR network working for LRH as a PR. Wow. And then later on, then she left. She married Glenn Poole, and they left and went to Portland. And she got a ranch outside of Portland while Glenn worked at the Portland Org. And so, of course, Cole went with them.
Crazy.
Yeah, and Cass Warner was Warner of Warner Brothers Studios. Okay. In other words, she was the daughter or granddaughter. Was she daughter or granddaughter of one of the Warner brothers? I
believe she was the granddaughter of Jack Warner. And as soon as when she turned 21, she came into this huge inheritance that she didn't even know she was going to get. It was just this attorney shows up at her door. that's the story I got from her boyfriend at the time, Harvey Haber.
Okay.
But
wow.
yeah, but when my mom was buying the Wilcox Hotel for Celebrity Center staff, Cass actually donated in Los Angeles. Cass actually donated about $75,000 to help her be able to buy that.
Wow, that's how the Wilcox came into be. I did
Yes.
not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
And Cass was, around the original Celebrity Center, and she was married. Somebody asked, she was married to Wings Hauser, the actor.
Well,
he was a Scientologist, right?
Well, Wings was actually staff at Celebrity Center. When I went there on my first leave of absence, I was 17, and Wings would be downstairs playing the piano after work, and I'd go down there and flirt with him. And then
he was a devastatingly handsome man.
He was tall and handsome with his curly hair. Anyway, so I went back to the ship, but Wings and Cass met, and she actually paid off his freeloader debt to buy him out of the Sea Org. And
really?
That's how he got out of the Sea Org.
Man, that's awesome.
Just to finish this up, the photograph that Janis has is of Darius in a diaper and Cole Hauser with a big wheel in a diaper, and they're playing in the back of the Fort Harrison at the cabanas in the nursery. They have no shirts on.
Well, and that kind of leads us right into, I'm wondering, okay, so was Darius must have been, was Greg Wilhare on the ship?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Greg was on the ship as an auditor. Later on, he became the Commodore's steward, and then he went to the RPF. And then to get out of the RPF, he became one of the Apollo Star dancers. And then when I have photos of that. And when Sandy became pregnant with Darius, they were sent as a command team to Washington, D.C. And they were in D.C. They were in D.C. when your dad and I did a mission to Washington, D.C. And so we all hung out together while we were on that mission. And then after we moved ashore, Sandy and Greg, with Darius, who was born in D.C., came back to the Flag Land Base.
Okay. And that's why I joined the Sea Org. I met Greg and Sandy in Washington, D.C. I was a teenager, and they were in the D.C. org, and I worked with Greg, and he so blew me away. I'd never met anybody like him. And I graduated high school, and I went and I joined the Sea Organization in 1976 because of Greg and Sandy Wilhare.
Wow. And I know Greg could be charming, by the way. He definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were friends all the way too.
I actually knew Sandy because she was a senior CSAOLA for a long time before Barbara was.
You did? Here she is right here.
Yeah. So that's that's awesome. No, I actually was closer to Sandy than Greg. I only met Greg a few times. I actually have a great Greg story about leaving me in the car at a gas station, forgetting to put the parking brake on, and all of a sudden I'm in the front seat, and Darius and I actually were both in the front seat, and the car just starts rolling away. Now he's fast, so he caught up to the car, pulled the brake. Everything was good in the end, but yeah. My experience with him later on in the Sea Org wasn't great. Did not like me. But yeah, no, it's crazy. So I was going to ask. So I think Darius is the oldest of
yes.
maybe one of the oldest of the kids was in that. Who else was in that? Our group. So you had Sean Alcock, you had Lizzie Eastman, you had Roanne Horowitz.
And Abdel and Susie had lot fee, and he left early.
Okay.
And
you had the Witcher kids. You had the Witcher kids.
Right.
Yeah.
The Witcher kids. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Carl Witcher's kids. That's Susie and Beezy.
Yeah. And Maz Witcher.
Okay. Maz was the
mother.
Right.
Susie and Beezy. You're right.
Yeah.
No,
I remember them.
It was Shelley. It was Rochelle and Belinda. Beezy. Yeah. And Beezy's here in town in Las Vegas. She's a teacher.
Wow. We used to call them Shelley and Beezy. Yeah.
Yeah. And Shelley actually joined the Navy, and she was like a commander or some sort. She went a long way, and then was at the Pentagon for a while. And they've done very well.
Wow.
There were a lot of Sea Org members that had kids then. You had Chris and Nancy Maney had kids too. I think they were in the Sea Org then too, and a lot of people.
But that was the kind of the core group off the Apollo, I think, to some degree, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's funny how some of us actually stayed together all the way up through to gold. You know what I mean? Because there was a lot of opportunities to go and many different directions, but who landed at gold was Roanne, me, Justin, Sean Alcock, Mishi Alcock, but I think she was later in LA maybe because she was Nathan's age and stuff like that.
She was in LA.
Yeah, that's great. And Darius, obviously. Darius, who actually honestly got in trouble more than me. That guy could not stay out of trouble. Oh my goodness. He just could. Oh, he found it.
He was a rascal. He was always a rascal as a kid,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I went on
Seth Price and Matt Price too.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
But I went on Facebook and looked Darius up. Oh my God, it's like looking at his dad.
Yes.
50 years ago, 40 years ago is like a splitting image.
Unbelievable. I mean, he's an extremely talented guy. I don't think Scientology or the Sea Org did him any favors. And that's my opinion. I think they did not that guy's talented.
What was his talent? That was after we left.
He could just do it. He could pick up any sort of physical activity, building, like even video editing, he just could learn anything. He just was extremely confident in general,
There is a video that you can find somewhere, maybe YouTube, if you put in Darius Stevens. He wasn't going by Will here for some reason.
Well, that's because they make children change their name if they're too connected.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, this video shows his incredible work where he built a whole backyard and a play area for his kids. I mean, it was just amazing. And it's just videos, the whole thing in fast motion.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that video. That's probably what I was thinking of when I said that. I've seen that video. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Sterling, I hate to just keep dominating, with questions and stories, but do we want to talk about, how your parents got together and that story we were talking about off camera?
Yeah, I would love to. So let me tell you. So I'm going to tell you a little bit from my mom. That's just kind of funny. And you guys have probably, maybe Janis has heard this, but as an adult, I was talking to my mom one time and it just occurred to me, why did I go with Foster and why did Justin go with Biddy? I'm like, how do you make that decision? It's horrible that they had to in the first place. And, that's partly on them and partly on Scientology. I get that. But I asked her one time. Now, my mom is brutally honest. You know what I mean? She's like, she can be brutally honest. So I have
absolutely
no reason not to believe what she said. But her story goes like this. Said, when we split up, I felt sorry for Foster a little bit. And so I decided I was going to take the more troublesome, the more pain in the ass child. So I took Justin and let Foster take you. So that's the story. Now that backfired because obviously I was way more of a tyrant than Justin when we were growing up. Justin was like Berenstein Bears, socks up to his knees, Mr. Polite and everything when we got into our preteens and teens. You know what I mean? I was a troublemaker. So that backfired. But that is the story I've heard from her. And I know she fought to see me for the longest time after we split up and I went to LA and they went to New Hampshire. And I know Foster fought her on that. He was like, no, you can't go see him. No, you can't go see him. And he finally had to give in. And I did actually end up going to see Justin when I was like 8 or something or 7, flew out to New Hampshire and got to spend time with him. And of course we went there and them being traditional, that they made Justin and I dress in the same clothes on all the photo shoots, which is so annoying. But she probably has all the pictures. They're actually funny pictures. So
yeah, and so for the viewers who don't know, Biddy married, or Foster and Biddy split, and she married Ronnie Miscavige, which is David Miscavige's older brother and Ron Miscavige Sr.'s oldest son. Yeah. And he was in the Sea Organization at the time in Clearwater, and Ronnie and Biddy, they got together, and then Foster married Barbara Christensen, I think was
Rubio.
No, different Barbara.
No, not Barbara Rubio.
Oh,
Christensen is her maiden name, but did you know she was married to Ray Midoff's brother before she was with Foster?
Oh, Bob Midoff, that's right. Yeah, she was married to Bob Midoff. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How many wives has Bob had?
How many husbands has Barbara had?
But yeah, no, she was a great technical trained auditor and case supervisor and supervisor. She was in the International Training Org for a long time when I was in Clearwater. But yeah, so anyway, so that's
lovely
how
person.
they split
She's
up.
actually
Yeah,
genuinely
absolutely.
believes she's helping people. Just don't give her a pair of scissors because she will cut my picture out of all the family photos.
Oh, no kidding.
Dangerous with
Wow.
scissors. Yeah.
Barbara does that?
She did that when I left the Sea Org in 2004. She went back with a pair of scissors and cut my. I was so devastated at the time. I can only laugh.
Okay,
ridiculous.
I'm just going to jump forward.
Paul's grandmother did that. She went through people she didn't like. She just cut their photo out, their picture out of the photo.
So I'm jumping ahead because I don't know the story.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm
all of,
I don't know. So
jump.
currently Foster and Barbara are still in Scientology, and Biddy and Ronnie are out, right?
Yeah. Now Foster and Barbara are still in the Sea Org in PAC.
Sea Org.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ronnie and Biddy are out, and they're not together anymore. But yeah, they're out of the Sea Org. And then Jenna Miscavige is your half sister, right?
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, she is the daughter of Ronnie and Biddy.
So same mother.
Just like Nathan is the son of Barbara and Foster.
And they're the same age. Yeah, go figure.
They're
the same age as Benjamin too. Yeah, so Benjamin Rinder, Jenna Miscavige, and Nathan all kind of grew up in a lot of ways together, different splits there. And they actually all went to Florida too. They were in that, they were in that group that went to Florida at one point after, the Int Ranch, which the Int Ranch is where, there we go. Now, Nathan's not in that photo. He might not have been there yet. That's
By the way, everybody, Team Blue was correct answer on that other photo.
By the time everyone should have figured this one out. Okay, so that's Justin with a stranglehold on my dog Charlie, and I don't know why he's holding him like that, but that was my golden retriever Australian sheepdog mix, I believe. Really cute dog. And then that's Jenna, of course, and then that's me with the puffy bad haircut in the back. So
now, how did you have a dog at the ranch?
Well, it was a ranch, so when we got up there, you were allowed to have pets. And as a birthday gift, and actually when I was there, Foster and Barbara were still in LA when I first went up to the ranch. It was Biddy that got me up to the ranch.
When you talk about the ranch, is that Happy Valley, Janice?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, that's Happy Valley. I actually was on last night with Amy and Lara FM, and Lara showed awesome recent video footage of her going back to the ranch out and by the just through the other side of the Indian reservation in Saboba.
Yeah, and just briefly for viewers that don't know, Happy Valley was another property that we owned near the international base at Gilman Hot Springs. You had to go through the Saboba Indian Reservation to get to it. It was remote, very remote. When we were there, it was a dirt road. There were some old broken down houses and stuff down there. And then it got turned into the kids' ranch, the children's ranch, right, Sterling? And that's how you guys ended up there. This is after Janis and I left in 1990. They renovated it and got it fixed up, right?
Yeah. And actually, that's where I saw Janis for the first time, was when you were coming to the ranch, I believe, to check on things. And then I bumped into you, I think, in the classroom, and you were talking to me and told me you knew my parents and all that kind of stuff. And that was the first time I had seen you since I was a baby, or at least to some degree.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I'll never, it's funny because I remember that day. I just remember that day meeting you, Janis, because I don't know what it was about you, but I was like, maybe there was a genuine acknowledgement of me and stuff, because I'll always remember the day I met you. I'll never forget that. It was just a nice moment for me, you know what I mean? But then I never saw you again. You disappeared.
Yeah, we both disappeared.
We
saw the writing on the wall.
Right. And I remember you guys talk about the flood. I remember at the ranch. I was at the ranch when the flood happened. You know what I mean? I remember just.
Yes, that's right. You were.
Yeah, you could feel it. It was like we were going to go to Sea Org Day, and then all of a sudden not. And then it was like, whoa, something happened.
Yeah.
Whoa. It was like, you could feel it. And I actually think they even sent someone out to the ranch to do drills with us, just to make sure that we were getting the whole gist of the thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And Janis, what was the reason for the ranch? What do you remember? Why Miscavige, right? Was he the one he sent you on project? What happened? How did that all come about?
Well, let me start first with the history of the ranch. When we purchased Gold, Gilman Hot Springs, or Massacre Canyon Inn, there wasn't enough berthing there for everybody when we were coming over from La Quinta. So
Birthing
they
is places to live. Birthing is places to sleep.
Places to live. Yeah. That's an old ship term. Anyway, so 15 minutes away on the other side of the Indian reservation was a property which was called the Valley of the Singing Larks. It had been there it was a Catholic retreat of some sort. Yeah. And so some of the crew would have to bus out at nighttime and live out at Happy Valley. So they didn't get to stay at the property and stay late and work and stuff like that. They got to go to the Valley of the Singing Larks. And they would sit around and have barbecues at nighttime and have a good time. They started calling it Happy Valley.
Oh, that's how that came about.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
We're going to Happy Valley.
I always thought they called it Happy Valley is like sort of like, a sane asylum. Like, oh, you're going to Happy Valley. You know what I mean? Because we always used to put the RPF out there, the Rehabilitation Project.
Well, that was later. But at this time, I remember Donna and Robbie Robinson, Robo, they were the ones who would say, yeah, we live out at Happy Valley. But that's where it came from. And then, so for the next 10 years, the crew lived out there, and then the RPF were moved out there when the RPF was formed. And so they would take the bus back and forth through the reservation. And then Biddy, DM was insisting on certain executives being pulled up to Gold or to management, or the exec strata being moved up there. And they all had kids. And it was like these kids were now being shoved off on other people in Los Angeles to take care of because their parents were now living up at the base 3 hours away. So it was your mom who talked to Miscavige and said, why don't we turn the ranch into a place for the kids, for all the INT kids, so the parents can see their kids and not have to do the long drive down to LA. And if they didn't get a day off, they'd go down on CSP 1 hour, and then they'd turn around and come back.
Yeah, they drive down at 11 o'clock on Saturday night, have CSP for 2 hours, and then drive back at like 10 a.m. on Sunday morning to get back by 12. Yeah.
Right. So that was your mom's proposal, so that those who had kids could have them closer than having to go all the way to LA to see them. So after Paul got in trouble and I came back from the ship having covered commanding officer of ship for Milt Wolf, and no one knew what to do with me, and they tried to send me to the RPF, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. Why are you sending me the RPF? Anyway, that's a whole nother story for a whole other video.
Nobody F's with Janis.
Yeah.
So anyway, DM called me up to his office and he said, the Biddy has asked if I could work for her and work on setting up the kids ranch.
Okay.
So instead of me being no one knowing what to do with me, I said, fine, I'll go work with Biddy and do the kids ranch. Okay. So that's where I got involved and started going out there, and we got the road, the bitumen, the asphalt put down, leading into there, and we started renovating the buildings, and we had the parents come out on CSP day and start weeding and fixing the place up. Yeah. And a few of the older kids, including Justin, who I think was 12 or 13 at that time, they came up, and they were supposed to be doing schooling and working. And I remember Greg Hughes's boy, Greg Hughes Jr., and a couple of the kids.
It was Mike Brown, Mike Norton, Greg Hughes Jr. There was and Taryn. There was a group of 4 or 5 that first came up, and I was working in Semo Pack at the time. Got in trouble, and then Biddy, my mom, arranged for me to come up. Up there.
And by the time you got up there, the bunch of the boys already had their quads.
Yes, quads, and then and Biddy has a giant family, and some of her family is in Colorado, and they had an old YZ80, Yamaha YZ80 that they donated to Justin and I, and we used to ride that around, and then Mike Brown got his TW200, and that's a great story about how he beat the system to do a fake dentist appointment. And then actually he was going to pick up his motorcycle.
Okay.
Oh, it's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to say, because I was talking to Aaron, was a fantastic person, Aaron. And you know, I've told some stories about the ranch on his channel, and my experience in the ranch wasn't horrible. And I get that you can have a horrible experience. My horror stories really came in PAC, you know, when I was put on the child RPF and a bunch of other stuff like that was just like bad. When I got to the ranch, it was actually, even though it's nothing compared to what you should be doing as a child at that age, when I got to the Int Ranch, you have to understand, it was a playground essentially. And we had to do some work, but I was like, okay, you know what? Like there was a sports field with green grass. I didn't have to worry about drug addicts or gang members. You know what I mean? So to me, I was like, hey, this is nice. Now for the younger generation, younger than me, I heard it was horrible. And again, I feel for you on that, but let me tell my story on it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not defending it in any way, shape, or form. I just had a different experience. It was a little bit more like a sorority party when I was there with Justin and Mike. We were kind of loose cannons. We didn't really, you know, like, it wasn't as controlling. It became much more controlling later on and much more, you know, enforced Scientology.
Is this a picture of all you kids out of?
Yeah, it is. I got a great story about that. With our famous, I hated those uniforms. Khaki pants. Yeah. We had khaki pants, red sweaters that said the ranch on them. And we had black LA Gear Michael Jackson shoes. You can't see the shoes real clearly in that picture, but that was our uniform. Okay. Now, one year we were going Christmas shopping, because every once in a while you got to go Christmas shopping, just like the base. We were going to get 3 hours to go Christmas shopping, I think in San Bernardino. And we were like, yes, we could wear civvies. We always wanted to wear civilian clothes, you know, because we were kids. We didn't want to wear a uniform. And we got told by Leslie, no, you have to wear a uniform for shopping. And we were like, no, we're going to look like such idiots. We're going to be such nerds. We're going to be walking around at Christmas time wearing a red sweater and khaki pants. And I remember we get to the place and we're all shopping. We all break off into our little groups. And we had 4 people come up to us and ask us, hey, are you guys the youth German national soccer team? Because apparently they were in town to play a tournament. So they thought we were the German youth soccer team. Like, no, we're not. This is so stupid. So a lot of us tried to wear leather jackets over top or something else. But yeah, those were our absurdly bright uniforms. And that is a lot of
I was going to say there's a lot of kids. I just counted up. It's about 88 kids.
Yeah, and that was probably kids. Max. That was when we hadn't had a lot of graduates. And we had a lot of the younger kids come, because you realize when we first started, it was like 10, 12, 5, then 10, 12, then about 20. And then it just started flowing in more and more.
When you say graduates, what do you mean by that?
So at one point before it filled, we had a few people leave. And I talked about this with Aaron. It's Arapa Willoughby. We call him Adapa. It's Arapa Willoughby, which was, you know, his mom. Anna Willoughby. Anna Willoughby. He had graduated, and so did Nathaniel Epstein. They were the first to leave. They actually went to gold. So those were the first 2 that graduated the ranch. And then the next group was 4 people. And that was myself, Justin, Matt Price, and Mike Norton. Were the next
graduate, did that mean go and get a job in the Sea Org?
Yes. Yep.
And how old were you?
That wasn't graduate with a high school diploma.
Oh, no. We actually still went to school on Saturdays at the ranch when we were there.
Now, how old were you when you graduated?
See, this is where I have the problem with the math on that. I always get mixed up, but let's just go here. So in 1990, I would have been 14, right? Yeah. So I want to say between the ages maybe 13 to 15, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I left in 1990, and you and Justin were 13 when I left, and there weren't a lot of kids. There weren't a lot of kids at the ranch. It was mostly older ones, and then a couple of younger, like Jenna, came up, and I guess Jenna was around 5 at the time.
Yep.
But she was the youngest.
Yeah, for sure.
And then just before the day before I left, Tanya and Mary Arbuckle had asked me if their kid could come up, because she was a pot washer at Gold and he was a musician, and their baby was being cared for down in LA by some couple. It wasn't even their kid.
It's terrible.
So Tanya asked me if he could bring his kid up. And I had no reality on dealing with a young baby or anything, but I'm like, yeah, the kid shouldn't be down there being raised by other people.
Yeah, riding our buckle.
Bring the kid up. So the kid shows up, I leave, and I later find out that your mom was so mad at me.
Really?
Because Leslie Epstein now had to carry this baby around with her while she was working with the older kids.
Oh my God.
But I left just knowing I did a good deed. I got a child matched up with the parents.
Yeah. And it is like you talk about, it's a funny scenario because horrible to have children work, but getting those kids out of LA at that time was actually a benevolent and beneficial action. It really was.
It was definitely better than being in Fountain or whatever the building
Fountain,
was out
and
in LA.
It was trashy
terrible.
and And again, it was different after. It's funny you mentioned the parent thing. So that reminds me of a story. So Foster was in income for a long time. When he got busted out of income, removed, he went up to the base with Barbara because Barbara was the CO income. And so I was still in LA. And I'll never forget this. One morning I wake, and I was going to public school this time. One morning I wake up to go to school and I get out and I get up and there is two different people in my parents' bed. And I was just looking, I'm like, hi. And I just kind of went about and did my thing and got ready for school. It was Claudia Olander. And what was her husband's name? Well, you guys know Claudia Olander, didn't you?
No.
She might have.
I remember her. Absolutely. She's from Switzerland. She's a brunette, and every guy knows her because she was super
yes,
hot.
I do remember her. Okay,
yes,
I do.
And her husband, they were assigned to take care of me while they were gone. So I woke up with two different people in my parents' bed. I was shocked. And maybe my parents had mentioned it to me, but it didn't click until I woke up the next morning. And that wasn't my parents in the bed. It was like one of those things.
Crazy.
Thank God they were nice. They were very nice. But
I was just going to, there were two women that ever came up to the Int base that most guys know. And one was Fleur Thomas, which was Darnell and Larissa's, and Claudia Olander. Okay. And I'll just leave it at that. They were definitely
good. Thomas was the one that flew me. She was the one that flew me from Florida to LA when my parents moved. She's the one that took me on the plane. Yeah. I remember sitting.
And how old were you at the time when Fleur took you?
Ooh, I think I came over in 82, so maybe 5 or 6, 81,
okay,
82.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just want to comment though. Graduating is equated to, now you're old enough to go take a job in the Sea Organization from the ranch.
Oh, still a child.
It's like, look, I graduated from high school. I mean, I literally had a diploma in 1976 when I joined the Sea Org. Miscavige was my roommate, and he had just dropped out of high school. I showed him my diploma, and he said to me, "Wow, you're probably the only person up here on the 9th floor because nobody else has ever graduated high school."
Except for Foster, right? Hey.
Yeah.
Foster actually went to Berkeley. Did you know that? Yeah. Foster was a college student in Berkeley. Well, in Berkeley when he joined Scientology.
I want to show you this, okay? Jefferson Hawkins is in the house, and he says, Foster was my best friend in the Sea Org, a brilliant guy. He helped me to establish the first Dianetics campaign office and gave me air cover whenever the campaign was threatened. Yes, Foster was.
That's Foster.
He was a superstar for Scientology and the Sea Org. Miscavige, for whatever reason, after we left, I don't know what happened. You probably do, but this is talk about a waste of resources. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Yeah, and Foster and Jeff Hawkins, by the way, great guy. I actually ended up working with him. I think I ended up working with him. He had to put up with me. But and we actually got in a fight on the running program once too. But Jefferson Hawkins, stand-up guy. That's me. Wonderful guy. I mean, and he's talked to me about my dad and wishes he would get out. And Jeff Hawkins is a great guy, and I'm so happy that he's doing good and everything he's done. And I enjoyed working with him. Super smart guy.
So what did you end up doing?
When they did the base, they did Dave did a quiz of the entire base on Scientology. I failed it. I didn't know anything. I realized at that point. I think Jeff Hawkins was like either number 1 or 2 on the base in his knowledge of Scientology. Yeah.
I found I've got a bunch of photos of your dad from the ship days. And what we should probably do is I'll pull those out and you pull out some, and we'll do a channel on your dad.
Yeah, that would be fun.
No,
my dad's. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say he was an unsung hero in Scientology. Absolutely.
Yeah. My dad's family. None of them are in Scientology, or were. They're fantastic people. When I left, they were, in the most part, like one of my largest support groups. I have cousins, Wendy and Alexa, who I love to death. My Aunt Penny, my Aunt Prue, my Aunt Pam. They are his three sisters are amazing, and all their kids are amazing. And like they helped me out so much because I knew I had them always. Like, and that's sort of rare because they saw me maybe once every 3 to 4 years. But they are truly amazing people, and they love Foster. They love Foster. I mean, he is the life of the party when he's there. He's nice, he's funny, and we all do wish to some degree he would leave. And I think Jefferson Hawkins has even offered to go grab him if he could. And I wish he could because not everyone has a great experience with Foster. I understand that. Not everyone has a great experience with me. So, eat shit. But yeah, anyways, I love that family.
Now, Foster's a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you know him so well. Both you guys know him so well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just popping up another picture because this seems to be when you were teenagers.
Yes. This was that's actually MCI. You can see the Scottish kilt motif tablecloth. Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to point out here that I'm a complete dick for wearing a tuxedo like that. It's so ugly. But I have to point out, though, you want to know the reason why Justin's not in a tuxedo?
Yeah.
It's because certain members of his family were cheap and they didn't want to pay for a rental. That's why he's not wearing a tuxedo.
Okay. Actually, who, Ronnie?
I'm not going to say it out loud. But that's why he's wearing a suit on New Year's Eve and I'm wearing a tuxedo, just so we're clear.
Hey, both look handsome, though.
Yeah.
Who's that?
And I told that to Justin the other day and he laughed. Oh my God. Okay, that's Barbara on the right.
Yes.
Oh wow, yeah it is.
Yep, that's at the Barbara. Gold base.
That's that's right outside MCI. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she may be the reason for my bad haircuts when growing up, if you look at her hair there.
Wait a second. So hold on. You're right. So the gym is on the right, correct? The movie studio?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I remember we decorated it that way. That's right. And then F&E is right in the middle. Yeah.
Yep. And then that's where we used to sit right outside the canteen after meals.
Oh, okay.
That is my
at
dog.
The circle.
Was my dog Yoda.
And who's that in the middle?
That's Shelly Miscavige's sister, Suzette Barnett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Suzette. That's
all right.
We were married then.
We will cover that.
You were
another
married
day.
to her. I didn't know that. Yeah.
I was married to her.
We're going to cover that another day.
Yeah, that's another whole subject. Oh, this is a great
I
picture.
have no idea what this is.
Okay, this is so when we graduated, fingers. There was a Saturday school because a lot of us were still minors, so we still actually had to legally go to school. I literally, in 3 years that I still had to go to school, I think I made zero progress because I would just get there so I could play sports at lunch. So this is the older kids that, can you zoom in on that at all?
I can't, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, these are the older kids. Most of these people were either in gold or SEMO gold or SEMO int. So you have like Rickard Rodin in there. You have Rowan's in there. Mike Norton's the one standing next to me. You have Serena McKelvin, who's in there, who was was never my girlfriend, but someone that we really liked each other at some point. We were both training in SEMO Gold. Another whole story there. She's out now. I actually tried to contact her, but I was ignored. So that's just us. I think we went on a field trip on a Saturday. So that's just us all hanging out. That's civilian clothes, and that's that was. Yeah.
Somebody asked, is Justin still in Scientology?
No, not at all. No.
He's out too. Okay.
Totally out. He was actually the first to leave.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So of everyone, he left in.
And
Go ahead.
He's got a great blow story.
Oh yeah, his
Oh,
story's
really?
amazing. What he did,
Yeah.
but he got caught because of me.
Yes, I know.
Because I was like, what would I do if I blew? Yeah, that's what I would do. And they went there, and that's where he was. So,
Yeah.
a little bit of
Wow.
twin
And we'll cover
intuition.
that another time.
Oh, and here we go. Here's okay. So that it was my wedding at that Celebrity Center, and obviously in the middle is Suzette and myself, and to my left, but to the right is Justin. Then there's Micho Danelovich, Darius Wilhare, Sabran Walker, Jesse. I can't remember Jesse's last name. Can't remember his last name. And then I can't name everyone in Suzette's party, but Laura DiCrescenzo's at the end. There's Jenna's the flower girl. Tracy Danelovich is back there. But that was the wedding party at Celebrity Center. That was the third wedding ceremony I did in 2 days.
Wow.
Might be a record. I got married in Vegas in early morning because Suzette was 17 and I was 19, and got married at the base at 4:00 that afternoon. Drove down to Celebrity Center and got married the next morning. So yeah.
Wow. And then who's that, Janice?
Oh, that's Paul with Sterling and my granddaughter Elizabeth.
Yep, and I think I was trying to lecture her.
After you left.
We went to LA and we had dinner with Richard and Ramina Nunnally, and Sterling came over and we had fun, huh?
That was super fun. And I think that's the first time I talked to Paul in a long
And here's
time.
Janice corrupting Sterling and making him into a wino.
Might have been the other way around on this one. Yeah.
Sterling was corrupting me.
Yeah. Might have been the other way around.
Who's the one who's got the bottle about to put it in their mouth?
I think I handed her the bottle. But you'll never catch me. Yes, that's right. It's a Spankies. You'll never catch me drinking that wine again, though. I've now become a wine snob. So.
And I don't drink wine.
Oh God, who is that? That is Athens, Greece. I shouldn't have to say Greece. That's Athens. That was one of the trips I took when I was working in Saudi Arabia over the 4th of July. And it was unbelievable. That's Athens. If you haven't been to Greece, go.
I have. I was there last year.
This was in my David Duchovny phase when I was watching Californication.
You're the one on the left with the sunglasses, and the one in the middle. That's Dallas and Jenna, right?
Jenna, yeah. Did I send you that photo? That was a joke. You weren't supposed to put that photo up, but okay.
Well, it's there.
It's there. Yeah, that was my David Duchovny face. And by the way, I bumped into David Duchovny in Malibu once, who was friends with Jason Begay. Said hi to him, told him I knew Jason, and was a whole big story. And he was such a nice guy. He said hi, and yeah, he heard about Scientology. He never was interested in blah blah blah. But it was actually kind of cool to bump into him. I loved him in that TV show. So.
Hey, listen, not if it's too personal, don't let me know. But I mean, what are Dallas and Jenna doing, and Justin? What are they doing these days? What kind of work?
I don't know much about Jen and Dallas right at the moment. But Justin is in construction. Yeah, he's a really, really good GC and does a lot of custom work and is really, really detailed oriented. And yeah, he's good.
And does he live in California too?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's so good. He used to actually teach woodwork. I mean, he does such a great job with it.
Yeah.
Were those obviously, were they skills he learned when he was in the Sea Organization, or did outside?
Partly. He didn't really learn the detail of what he has now, but he kind of picked up the liking or the affinity for doing that sort of work. I would say.
I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, and who's that?
Are you wearing the same dress right now or no?
No, this is a top.
Oh, a top. Okay. Well, it looks similar. You can't fault me for that.
Yeah, that's an orange and green and yellow, and this is pink.
Wait a second. I took my motorcycle to this event, if I remember. That's
you
tell
did.
Everybody who that is. I don't think they know who that is.
Well, this was for announcing my upcoming release of my book too. So I guess this was 2018, 2019. But we did a picnic in Burbank, and that's Sterling on the left and me in the middle and Mike Rinder on the right.
That's
right.
So
we were
Mike
just
Rinder
hanging out in the shade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
Yep. That was cool.
Yeah, I was there too.
Yeah.
That was that. So
That's
what did you do when you were in the Sea Organization at Gold? You were in Gold, right? Did you work in like the movies and all that? I don't know have any idea what your background
Yeah,
was.
right. Because we didn't no. So I was in
Yeah.
SEMO Gold at first, and then and I told a story on Aaron's channel. Do you know that I was Annie Tidman Senior for about a year, Janice?
You're
No,
kidding, Annie
I did
Broker?
not.
Yeah, yep.
And
I
I
didn't.
bet
Yeah.
you didn't know who she was, right?
No. So I did by that time, but I think I've told you the story about this naive little 14-year-old kid. I was in SEMO Gold, and this is before this. I'm gonna go jump back. It's Sea Org Days coming up, and so I was always like fascinated. You know, hey, is someone getting promoted? I was like, and so Annie was wearing her bars, and she was an F&E at the time. I was like, Sea Org Days coming up, and I said, wow. And I think this was the first year of the 25th anniversary, or it's the first year you could be in for 25 years. And so I said, wow, so are you going to get your 25-year ring? Have you been in for more than 25 years? She's like, yeah, I have. I've been in for, she said something like 30 or something like that. I forget what it would have been at the time. And I was like, I just kind of went blank, and I was like, and you're only a warrant officer? I know, but I didn't mean it in a bad way, but that's just how it came out. Oh, you're only a warrant. And I could just see for a second the kind of blood left her face a little bit, because she realized she knew who I was, but she realized I didn't, and she didn't really want to explain it. And I didn't learn until later who she was. But I'll always feel bad about that. I'll always feel bad that I have a big mouth. So that was my story with her. Later on, I became the ops chief. She had moved on from F&E to be the Cine programs ops. And actually, when I was posted as the ops chief, and it was the same time, they wanted her over Cine specifically because of her skill set in F&E and film and stuff like that. And Shelley pulled her aside and asked her, hey, are you okay with working with Sterling? Under Sterling, I know it's sort of strange that you got this, punk kid, who's like now 16, I guess at the time, and you've been in the Sea Org and you worked with L. Ron Hubbard and I didn't know that. I still didn't know that, though. I still didn't know that she worked with L. Ron Hubbard that long or that much, or any of the story that you guys told on your channel. Didn't know any of that. But she was so kind and gracious. She actually told me that story and let me know that she was okay with it. And so we had a great relationship, and I'll always love Annie. I will always love Annie. She's a sweetheart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, Annie actually got promoted all the way up to like lieutenant commander. She, Terry, myself, Claire, we made our way all up to lieutenant commander. And I guess after DM took over and got her busted, she somehow got those ranks and fell all the way down a warrant officer.
Yeah, which was a thin little stripe, right? Ensign was a thick stripe with a little black mark in the middle, warrant officer, and then you
lieutenant,
then ensign. No, ensign,
warrant officer, ensign, lieutenant commander.
Well, lieutenant JG, then lieutenant.
Yeah, lieutenant JG.
Yeah, which was I used to love reading for the book and looking at all the ranks. But just so you know, in my entire Sea Org career, which was like 8, 9, 10 years, I never got promoted once. I was PO. You automatically get PO3 if you finish a course. So, but I never got promoted. I was a PO3 my entire time there.
How long were you in?
Petty officer.
Yeah, petty officer.
How long were you actually in the Sea Organization? Like what year did you leave?
89 to 2004. Oh, yeah. So 15 years. Ish.
And what were you doing? Were you working, like you were in CMO Gold? You said, did you eventually end up in Gold, or what did
you? So CMO Gold, I got removed from the ops chief position in CMO Gold. I was way over my head in that, by the way, like way over my head. And then I got put into, and there's a whole story that I'm going to tell with Aaron, but we can talk about it sometime, because it had to do with Dave. Like everything had to do with Dave. It was, I was apparently black PRing. It was just all this made up stuff, but I was like good to go where I went. So I ended up going to grounds department, which is where you send people. They tried to split me and my wife up. They tried to say bad things about her, about me to her, but she never bought it, so she stayed with me. And then I was in grounds with Spike Bush, who has got to be one of the best characters of all time.
It's one of the funniest people that was ever in the Sea Org.
Oh, and one of the craziest at the same time. But I tell you, I highlight working with him. Even though he was a complete dick sometimes, I'll highlight. So I worked in grounds. I was in the trees department with Gil Llewellyn, Abby Imbron, and eventually Jesse Radstrom. And then actually, when I got there, I was a deputy trees IC. I was a tree surgeon, and Abby was the trees IC. And then when Abby moved back into Qual to be a cramming officer, I moved up the trees I see. And I
You
love
know, Gil Llewellyn is here in Vegas and he runs a tree business.
I don't doubt it. That guy is a master at climbing trees and pruning trees. He
has a whole company that does trees.
He is talented.
Wow.
He's also a great basketball player.
Yes, he does that in the summer. He still does his basketball camps with the kids.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. Good guy.
Yeah.
Good guy.
So how did you leave, or what made you leave finally?
So I was in trees for a while, and then
in trees for a while. That sounds so funny.
Yeah.
I was in trees for a while.
I was going backwards. I was back into the trees. I wasn't upright. Skip a lot of bunches. I mean, then I got really good at computer graphics because Dave destroyed trees. Okay, here's a great story about how stupid David Miscavige can be. So we prune these trees we had a Saturday team that did it. We kept these trees immaculate. It was a job and a half, but we kept it. And we actually one year when Wendell Reynolds was the estate sec, he had to get an appraisal done of the property, I guess for insurance purposes. So he got the appraisal done, and I remember when it was finished at a estate's staff meeting. We used to have your divisional staff meeting first. He said, I just want to let you know, the appraiser came up to me and valued the property. And he came up to me after, Sterling, and he said, because of how well maintained your trees are, you can add another $20 million to the value of the property because they're so well maintained.
Wow.
Yeah. 4 months later, Dave's in LA. He sees some magnolia trees somewhere on Sunset Strip or something like that. He comes back to the base and he says, we're over pruning all the trees. And it looks like Edward Scissorhands was out there. And then says, we don't really need all that work in trees. We can take those people and move them up elsewhere. Now, I don't know what happened after that to trees. But that's the type of person he was. Like, you just had an appraiser say that the value was $20 million.
Yeah. No, his opinion is more valuable than anybody else's.
Yeah. And I was just like, Edward Scissorhands? Like, why don't you just twist the knife while it's in? You know what I mean? It's already bad enough.
I have to ask you about the most famous trees at the Gold Base, those huge palm trees that line Broadway, came up by the Star California. Are they still there, or were they still there?
And I used to wrap them with lights for Christmas every year. Yeah. So in trees too, Jesse Radstrom, myself, and Gil, we were kind of like, okay, everything sucks, but you really couldn't get in a whole lot of trouble in trees. So every year we would go out of our way to try to light everything for Christmas to at least give everyone a feel that Christmas was there. I did, by the way, I did move one of those palm trees to the other side.
It's so funny when you say trees, because they are important and all that, but you think about it, you go like, well, I signed this $1 billion contract so that I can take care of trees.
Yeah,
I'd rather go work. If I'm going to do that, I'll be like Gil Llewellyn and go start my own business and make money at it.
Yeah, it's funny that, and I didn't, again, it's funny. People ask, it's like, I was so focused. I wasn't focused on Scientology. I was focused on doing my job and doing the best I could at whatever I was doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wouldn't do certain things like you would. I would never do construction. Not in a million years. You couldn't force me. But trees, hey, I'm up there with the rope. I'm climbing. I'm using a backhoe to transplant trees. I'm driving the dump truck back and forth. It was fun for me. It was,
not bad.
It was at least entertaining.
Listen, we're going to go to questions now, okay? Because we're running a little late here. But Sterling, we definitely got to have you back, right, Janis?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're just scratching the surface. And I've already done 2 videos I am doing Mitch Brisker, by the way, later this week, which will be a lot of fun. And I'm going to talk about being on the set with him. And
good.
Anyway, I wanted to mention to our viewers, if get in the chat, if you have a question for Sterling, just write the word question so we can spot it, star it, and we'll go from there. If you want to super chat or super sticker us, we appreciate any support that you want to give. And I'll go ahead. There's a couple in here right now, but if anybody else wants to ask a question, go ahead and get in there and ask. Okay, and some of these are a little bit older. We did get a super chat from Stephanie Sandoval. Go Dodgers.
There's a good person right there.
How did you become a Dodger fan?
I grew up in LA.
So you just followed it?
Yeah.
I know you're big time.
First game in '84, saw Fernando Valenzuela pitch. And then, my mom, Barbara, was a senior CSAOLA and stepmom, be clear. Anyways,
Yeah.
and so there was some wealthy Scientologists that had season tickets, and I used to get them. So I used to go to the games, sell 3 of them, take 1 of them, and I used to make like $20.
Wow, that's
It was fun.
great.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you this, I'm an Astros fan, so anyway.
And I'm a not
Yeah,
fan.
No, well, that's better than being an Astros fan, just so you know.
Although we did win,
and how it goes.
We did win last year.
Hate baseball, Astros fan.
Paul took me to a baseball game once, and I couldn't leave soon enough. I was so bored.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Not everyone's perfect.
That's okay. This question I think we answered already. Question: how was it decided which twin went with which parent? You answered that I think already.
Yeah.
But thank you for the question, Anna. We appreciate it. This is from Mad Marsha. Cole Hauser was Wing Hauser, Church of Scientology. Yes, Wing Hauser was in the Church of Scientology.
Cool name.
Cole, though, he never got in, as far as I know, right, Janice? I mean, he doesn't acknowledge that he's a Scientologist or was ever in.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that Glenn was working at the org in Portland during that whole time that Cole was living with his mom still and growing up. And I think Cole went to probably maybe Delphi or something like that.
Okay. Next question here is again from Anna P. Question: is the PDX Oregon, I guess that's Oregon, location a big deal in Scientology? I used to live there and drive by daily to work. I don't know what she's talking about with PDX. Do you, Justin?
PDX.
No, PDX OR location, a big deal. No.
No, we don't know, Anna. If you want to get in the chat and explain what that is.
Unless it's Portland, Oregon, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was going to say. And then another from Anna. Is there a Scientology location in Virginia? When I was there in Northern Virginia, there was a mission in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. I don't know about if it's still there or if there was anything else as far as other locations and stuff. But
so
I doubt it, though, yeah.
It's Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's just an organization, as far as I know, right? Portland, Oregon was not a big deal.
I wouldn't know.
Well, there's the Portland org, and there's also the Delphi that is in Sheridan, Oregon.
Yeah, maybe that's what she's talking about. That was a pretty big school, I think.
Yeah, it was. It was huge.
Okay. Thank you for that question. We've got another one here from Argo Serlin, the backseat question. Did Glenn Poole have a daughter named Marlene? Janice, I have no idea. Do you know?
I know he had a daughter with Cass, but I don't know her name.
I don't know her name. Okay. Next question is, this is from Barbrius. Question, Sterling, do you still have a dog?
I don't. And I didn't get to tell a sad story about that one, but we'll leave that for another time. I don't have a dog. My job requires a lot of travel. And so it would be cruel to my dog to do that all the time. But when I go on the beach, I say hi to every dog I can. So that makes up for it. And
he did have 2 cats, which he then gave to his mother.
Okay. It's a lie. You can't edit that out. All right. Yes, I did. I did actually. Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Next question here. We got John C. Question, Sterling, is there a way to contact you with email for some personal questions?
There's always a way to contact me. I'm just not a big fan of giving out my email, so I don't know what the personal questions would be.
You know what, you could email. How about if they emailed Janice, who could then forward the questions to you? How would that work?
Yeah, they could email me, and then I'll just forward it to you, and you can decide if you want to get in touch with them or not.
You want to respond or not?
Sure. That sounds good.
Does that sound good? All right. Well, this is Janice's email address here, JaniceGilhamGrady@gmail.com. You could just go ahead and send the questions there, and Janice will forward them, and then Sterling can decide if he wants to respond. You got to understand, people, everybody, we get contacted by people all the time. So, some people want to make sure that everything's copacetic, Okay. Where am I at here? Sorry.
No private investigators, please.
Yeah. Okay, this is the next one. Sorry about that. Amber Vanessa, question, Sterling, do you have any PAC cadet pictures?
I don't. There's got to be someone that has them around somewhere, but I do not. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can find them online or whatever. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there used to be a group of ex-PAC cadets that used to get together and stuff, so I'm sure they have those pictures somewhere, but I don't myself. Yeah.
Okay. Next
And
question.
I don't have them either.
No. Xenoite. Is it Xenoite? Yep. Formerly Diane Velicilio. Question, Sterling, are you thinking of starting your own YouTube channel and join SPTV?
No, I am not. I just enjoy being on your guys' channel and supporting you however I can. Yeah, I don't,
We appreciate that, Sterling. And you know what? People, they can subscribe to our channel and we'll have you on there. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button on our channel, right, Janice?
Yeah.
And rock slam that like button.
Anytime Janice calls me, I'll be there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that question. Next question from Danielle Chamberlain. Hi, Danielle. She's a member of our channel. Question, are you in touch with any of your ex-cadet friends who have left? I like the friendship bonds.
That's a tough question because you got to break that category down into who I did know in the cadet org and if I still know them now. I guess the ranch would be the cadet org, right? So we'd have to conclude that. Yes, I would say maybe 3 to 4 that I'm still, in connection with. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Next question here is from Nerdkin Odkin. Nerman Odkin. Sorry. Question: what happened after you left in 2004? What did you end up doing?
That's a whole nother story. I think I spoke about that briefly with Aaron, actually, about when I left and them sending me to a declared SP's house because I was declared, and I spent a week there watching movies in his basement with his family, and then came back. And there's a whole back and forth story. But I've lived life since then. I bounced through a couple different professions, traveled all around the world. Landed in a good one now. And yeah, I mean, that is a very broad open question. So I don't know if I can answer it in one shot, but yeah.
I understand. Did they set you up with a job when you left?
No.
Yeah. I mean,
and I didn't want a job that they set me up with. They offered.
Right.
I didn't want to do that because I don't want anyone holding anything over me ever.
Understand.
Like I don't talk to my dad today because the condition of talking to my dad was that he could look at my Facebook and Instagram and say who I shouldn't have as friends. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Because then why leave?
What is Foster doing these days? Do you have any idea?
I don't. I'm assuming he's in the pack mill somewhere, but I do not.
Okay.
I did see him recently.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I heard he was in the pack mill.
Yeah. I did see him at a family a funeral recently.
Despite and for everybody doesn't know, the mill is where they make furniture.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, you and your brother Nathan got to see him and Barbara at that celebration of life.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting scenario because I think he shouldn't have been there by all rules and regulations of the church, but at the same time, I don't think he could get away. There was pressure put on him, and I don't think him not showing up for that just because I was there would have optically looked terrible. So I think he kind of had to be there. The unfortunate part is that though I got to talk to him, there was nothing there. He didn't even ask me how I've been, what's up with my life, so it was kind of a cold encounter, which was not enjoyable for me, but
Yeah.
I still
smiled and told him I loved him. So
yeah.
Is he still together with Barbara?
Supposedly they showed up together, but you never know. Yeah. I've heard.
But he would have been sec checked upon his return to find out if he'd communicated with you. So if he kept it to a minimum, then that saved the long drawn out ethics handling.
Right. Exactly.
And it's amazing to me that, Foster is a really intelligent guy and a great guy and all that. And he had a lot of connection with Hubbard and all that. But you would think he was smart enough to see what the writing on the wall, you know what I mean? And he had, it's not like you said, he has family outside and all that. So he had a support system, but they're just so indoctrinated that they can't see, their future.
Well, I actually about 2 years after I left, I was talking to a good friend of mine, John Lindstein, who was Billy Lindstein and Mariette Lindstein's son.
Yeah.
So there's one of the cadets that I was at the ranch with and worked in Simo Gold with, and he's a brilliant post-production guy in Hollywood, and he told me a story about something that occurred after my dad left at a base briefing about my dad that angered me so much that I actually, and this is back in 2000, probably 2007, 2008. Cause I think I last spoke to my dad in 2008 or 2009. It angered me so much. I actually called my dad, met with him in Los Feliz at a pizza joint, and told him, like, I actually said, you got to leave. You can't, why are you doing this? You know, Dave hit you. You know that he hates you. He made this comment about your personal life that was horrific. And even if it was true, there's no reason to tell your contemporaries at the Gold Base, when you're already busted down a pack, anything about this. And he started tearing up. I'm not going to say what the fact was that I was told. He started tearing up, and I really tried to appeal to him. Man, like, please leave. You can stay with me. You have your sisters. They love you. Everyone, you don't have anyone that doesn't love you out here. Just come out. You know, I'd like to travel with you. And it didn't work. Instead, he just backed up and, you know, pulled back more, because what I told him, I said, Dave's an asshole. He is. He's a fucking asshole.
Absolutely.
He hates you. He hates everyone. He doesn't like me. He hates Biddy. You know what I mean? And why would you work for someone like that? And I think some people still do it because they truly believe that Hubbard's coming back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Well,
at this point, he's late for muster. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
No, but it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
look at, when you're so indoctrinated that when we left in 1990, we thought he was coming back. Okay. Even though we left, we thought, well, we'll just wait till he comes back and he'll sort it out. But then peeling the onion,
Yeah.
right, Janice? You just,
Yep,
after
the
about
layers.
2 years, you go like, he ain't coming back, and this is a bunch of crap, you know, in terms of what's going on. It takes time, you know.
And Jeff Hawkins would be one of the people I would say that could, you know, appeal to him if possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
It is the saddest part of it is the thing that hurts me the most, and the saddest part. Again, I don't tend to focus on all this stuff. I just like telling the story because it's strange how I ended up in Saudi Arabia. There's so many weird facets, but the one point that does break my heart is I love Foster. He was always good to me and a great person. And it hurts. You know, I don't dwell on it, but it hurts. You know, I'm not going to lie about it.
Okay. We got KB, a member of our channel, says, don't forget to rock slam that like button. Yes, KB. Yeah. You will like our mouse pad that we're putting out, KB.
By the way, I never rock slammed my entire time there. I think Justin did. I think everyone else did. I never did.
Well, you're doing it. We're all doing it now. We're all rock slam. I never did either, but, you know, we're rock slamming.
I went to the RPF as a list 1 RSer.
Before Dave came up with this this meter thing that kind of made the reads, when you used to have to call someone to get an FN. And so I used to get called in the course room all the time. Hey, if you need someone to FN so you can see what an FN is, just call Sterling. And what someone once asked, well, why does it work with Sterling? Go, oh, just talk about baseball. Just mention baseball. and his needle will float. And it happened every time. Just talk about baseball. Oh yeah, here we go.
That's
it would float every time.
That's very good.
Thanks, KB. We got a super chat here from Necessary Trouble. Thank you so much, Necessary Trouble.
That could have been my name.
Yeah, love this guy. Sterling, you are so interesting and funny.
Thank you.
That's a nice comment. Thank you so much, Necessary Trouble. And we've got a question from Michael Feldman, member of our channel. Question, Sterling, what auditing level did you reach, and how do you feel about your gains from auditing in retrospect?
That's a great question. So actually, I never really got auditing on any sort of levels after 1988. I attested to clear in 1987, past life clear. And I got a lot of auditing when I was younger because my stepmother, Barbara, was a senior CS AOLA, and my Aunt Griffey, on my mom's side, was the internship soup. So every person that was doing an internship and needed a PC, she was like, hey, my nephew. And so I got a lot of, and again, I was always getting in trouble. I had a temper problem as a kid. You know what I mean? I would get in fights with my teachers, and I was insubordinate, and, you know, all these sort of things. And I think, you had my Uncle Jim on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
You should have got him talking about, he was my senior in the States for about 2 years. You should ask him sometimes how that experience was.
We will have him back. So, okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, he tells a funny story about it because I was a pain in the ass. I was right, but I was a pain in the ass. Anyway, so I tested to clear in 1988. I never progressed after that, not even a single bit. Yeah.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks for that question, Michael. We got this comment and question. CC, also a member of our channel. Barb was a top auditor and very respected at AOLA. PCs paid extra to get Barb. We had Sandy Wilhair too. Then it was Griffey, your mom's sister, right?
It was a family affair, apparently. Yeah, that's right. You know, I didn't know until recently you could pay extra to request a certain auditor. I had no clue.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. I think Aaron told me that. But what was the question? Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Griffey was my
Your
mom's sister. That's right. That's right.
That's
so yeah,
great.
it was.
Thanks, Cece, for that question. Here's another question. Biggest SP question. Sterling, how many encounters did you have with Shelley Miscavige?
Quite a few. She was my sister-in-law at one point. She also, I want to believe she also kind of liked me a little bit, you know, as a person. And even when Dave hated me, she still made an effort to, I think, you know, every once in a while, just give me that look or whatever it was. But I didn't work with her, but because the familiar relationship, every once in a while, she would talk to me or have a discussion or say something funny or, you know, talk about how it was borderline incest that I married her sister. You know,
I didn't even know she had a sister. I literally, I knew CB.
Really?
I knew Clarice. Clarice had been there forever. I didn't know she had a sister. I mean, we left in 1990, so her sister must have come up after that, right, Janice?
Well, she didn't come up. I actually,
Well, there was also Camille, who is, there was Shelley, there was Clarice, Shelley, Camille. Camille never joined the Sea Org, and those were all Bonnie and Flo's kids. And then Bonnie got remarried and had Suzette.
Yep.
So Suzette is a half sister of Shelley's.
Yeah, and she actually was CC Programs Ops and CMOIQ under Amy Scobie.
Okay.
When we started our courtship, if you want to call it that. I met her at an event, and she was suggested by a friend that I should meet her. I met her. I went down and visited her once or twice, and then like before I proposed to her, I think I'd maybe spent 4 hours with her in total. And as you know, we do it. And so I was going to, it was a Christmas when we still had Christmases, and a group of us went to Big Bear. She came along and I proposed to her at the bottom of the slopes in Big Bear.
How old were you?
Oh, I was either 18 or 19. I was 18. Yeah.
18. And she was how old?
She was 17. And then we got married. No, she must have been 16. Yeah. Anyways.
Yep. They got married young in the Sea Org.
Yeah. My mom was 19 when she had me and Justin. So
yeah, that's right. Well, I didn't get married till 24. I was a late comer.
You were late. Yeah. That's because you're too busy skating.
Yeah, I was 26. 26 for me.
Yeah, no, I got married young. Remember, let's be clear with everyone. In the Sea Org, you cannot have sex unless you're married.
Right.
So it's just a big tease the entire time you're going through high school and what would be college. It was like torture. So you get married pretty quick.
Did you ever know or have any interaction with my ex-wife, Julie Catano?
I did. Not a lot. She was always just a sweetheart. I was like, what's her deal? She's like always so calm and nice, and never saw her be anything but just level and just nice. And she had the longest hair in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember that. I was like, don't look at her ass, but I mean, her hair is so long. Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
No, she was a
What was
sweetheart.
she doing? Do you remember what she was doing?
She was in audio doing something. Maybe she was Russ
on the
Russ
mix team or something.
Yeah,
on the mix team. Yeah.
Again, fascinating when you tell your whole story about her, because these are people that you see and you're like, oh, I wonder. Like even CB, I didn't know that story about her. You know what I mean? That she'd been through all that and everything. So it's always, to me, I love your channel.
Well, and like we say on our channel, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing in Scientology, particularly in the Sea Org. So that's one of the great things about these channels, is that we're able to fill in details that hopefully give some clarity to people. You know,
absolutely. All
right, we got a comment here from Jeff. Comment at Sterling. I know you don't have an interest in starting a channel, but you would make a great SPTV creator.
Thank you, but it's not going to work.
Okay, that's cool. And we got a question.
He'll just jump from channel to channel and being interviewed. Yeah.
Sinfully good question. Was the Sea Org blueberry cobbler a crumble, hardtop, or cake type with it mixed in? I have the stuff to make blueberry cobbler for my SPTV cooking channel. I don't know. Did you ever have blueberry cobbler?
No, that must be an Aaron question. I think Aaron talks about some sort of pie he liked.
Oh,
Between that and key lime pie, I don't know what the other one Aaron likes, but he said something about I was a cookie guy. Like at the ranch, and even on Saturdays, I think if you remember, they used to make cookies. I would just stack those up. So I was not a cobbler guy. I was a cookie. Don't take away I have a story about a fight I got in with Dan Probelski about cookies when I was just a kid. Like he tried to take them away from me, and that was the last mistake he ever made. Like, do not mess with my cookies.
You turned into a cookie monster.
Good.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Do not mess with my cookies.
Thank you, Sinfully Good. And please check out her cooking channel on SPTV. It's really good.
It's a great name. Simply Good.
We've got another question from Xenoite, formerly Diane Valesillo. Question: I know Applebox Boy is just an a-hole, but why do you think Shorty hated you?
Because I can't hide the expression on my face. Because when he said stuff that was insane and stupid, no matter how hard I tried to smile through it, he could tell I thought that was just a stupid idea. And few people stood up to him, and Biddy was one of them. And so I think there was a little bit of Justin and I. You could argue that I'm most like Biddy. I look a little bit more like her, and I'm probably more like her in temperament. And so I think there was a residual aggravation towards that. Like Greg Wilhair was the same way. Greg Wilhair was not nice to me. Jenny Linson. I didn't do anything to Jenny Linson or Greg Wilhair. So I'm assuming that had to do with at one point Biddy kicked the shit out of them. So shit rolls downhill. But hey, you know what? In the long run, I didn't, there's only one person that I want to bump into again from there. And if I see him, I'm seriously going to punch him. And that's Russ Bellin. Because that's the guy that smacked me across the face once. I so want to get him back for that.
Now, Russ was at CST.
He was the COCST.
But he was working in gold when they were redesigning. He was working as the COCST in gold when they were redesigning. This is another great story. Real quickly, I'll tell. He was working in gold, redesigning stuff. We were doing the basic lectures. And we would print off these proofs on our printer that we had calibrated once a week with super Epson ink. And so it was an exact science. We knew that it was exactly the same. Well, we sent them to Dave in the UK to approve them. Must have been around 3 million because Dan Kuhn was writing the copy and Dave kept rejecting it. So we kept having to reprint them. Dave's like, these look totally different. What's the deal? Go find out. So Russ Bellin comes storming down to CMU. I was the pre-preps in charge. So I handled all pre-press work for CMU on the lectures and books, the basics. And so he calls this meeting over. He calls Rickard Rodin over. He calls another person over, our tech guy. And we're all saying this little thing. And he's like, well, so why, guys? Why is COB seeing it differently than you are? And I kind of looked up at the lights. I was like, is he looking at it under the same lights? Because if there's different lights above where he's looking at it, it's going to look different. You know that, right? And Russ just reached across the table and smacked me in the face.
Oh, my God.
And I was just like, what? Like, and I just froze and I just stared at him. I just looked at him for like 30 seconds and then went back to what I was doing. And then the next day, Dave writes back, I think it's the lights. I think there's different lights here. That like, no shit, asshole. Of course that's the problem. Fucking tard.
That's the insanity.
Yeah, so no, if that's the one guy, if I see him, and I've never hit anyone except for one, but that was the kid, through my Kenny Loggins CD when I was a kid, and we made up right after. But no, literally that's the one guy, the only person I want to punch. And Justin said he would help me too, so I can't wait. I hope we both bump.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Okay. All right. We're about here at the end. We've got one last comment here from Mary Klein, who's also a member of our channel. Mary says, "This is my favorite channel. Once again, Mark and Miss Janis are just letting someone's voice be heard nicely. They're a good team." Well, thank you so much for that, Mary Klein. We appreciate it. And that makes me go, please subscribe to our channel.
That's right.
Yeah, our Scientology Stories, Peeling the Onion. That's how you can reach it. Click on that like button, rock slam that like button, but click on that subscribe because we appreciate the support. Also, we want to let you know, become a member of our channel. Just click on that join button and follow the instructions on our channel homepage. We are having a lot of fun with our new members to our channel. We're doing one-on-ones, like I mentioned, Janice mentioned, tomorrow, and we've done already a few with our peeling masters, and they're just a great joy. So anyway, if you're interested in becoming a member, click on that join button. There's a little video you can watch which explains it, and you can go from there. And then shortly, we're going to have channel merchandise coming up on our site. This is one of the coffee mugs that we designed, and that'll be coming up as well. So if you're interested in that, you'll see that very shortly. Sterling, we really want to thank you for being here with us. Have you got anything else you'd like to say?
I would love to say something. I want to make sure that, because I didn't say it in the beginning, and I say it privately to everyone, I love your guys' channel. I think what you're doing is so fantastic. You guys are the perfect pairing to historically tell everything about this cult. I love that you do it with unbiased, but you also tell the truth, and how you guys present it. And to me, it's been therapeutical to listen to you guys talk about it, because it really explains why things why things were the way they were there. And when you have the context of it, I think it helps someone like me sort out who's a good person, who's a bad person, what did they just get as baggage coming with them, and where to break that down. So you begin to trust people more, you begin to understand the context of everything. And I think that's why you guys are invaluable. I really, really do. And your content's amazing. And I love how truthful you are. I like how you comment on things that you were there for, or you were second person for, but you don't exaggerate it, and you tell it how it was. And I appreciate that. And I think you both are fantastic. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And I will get you a check out in the mail for that.
This is all free. This is all free.
Thank you. No, we appreciate it, Sterling.
Thanks for having me on.
No, we do. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. And hopefully people are enjoying the content, and will watch and hit the subscribe button and all that jazz. So,
and
thank you for the nice things.
And we're definitely having you back, Sterling.
Oh, for sure. But don't question whether I'm going to be here on time or not if I'm doing another interview. I'm always. That's me. I'm supposed to be on time. And I do appreciate the nice things you said about my father too, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an amazing guy. I really did like him.
Good guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
all right. So
I'm going to try to get Justin here for you one week too.
That would be great.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah, both of us on. Might be
have him come on here first, okay? Before Aaron. Hey, listen, I was going to say, Justin, stay on. I'm going to play the exit, and we'll end the video, but stay on because we can still talk to you, okay?
You got it.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And here we go.